morning. Hello, good morning. There we go. It's so wonderful to be back. Is this loud or is it me? Is it good? Okay, good. Well, you'll tell me if it gets like really loud because they'll have to turn it down. You can't shut me down. So today, I'm very inspired by a quote from Joseph Campbell, who wrote the book, The Hero with a Thousand Faces. And one of the things that he talked about is the extent to which we see our life as a hero's journey is the extent to which we gain access to a level of meaning that we might not otherwise have. Breathe into that for just a quiet moment, because very often in our life journey, we don't see that sometimes to wake up in the morning and engage in my day is a heroic journey. Can I get an amen? You know, we tend to look at a hero as someone who does extraordinary, unbelievable things. You know, run into burning buildings. Somebody has to do the wonders of that. I'm coming down the stairs. I promise I won't fall. Okay? But one of the things that I have always appreciated and been inspired about the metaphor of the hero's journey is that, have you noticed that there is a constant, consistent need and inspiration to grow? Put your hand up if you know what I'm talking about. Aren't you ready? You know, I know for myself, sometimes I'm like, when do I ever stop growing? When does the desire, the longing, the call to be and have and do more in my life, when is it going to stop? Anyone ever wonder? And yet, I so appreciate that we cannot help but grow. That there is a divine nature to who we are that is constantly seeking to emerge. I love that the human experience, there is never an arrival point. I don't know, probably in my 20s, I was always looking forward to the arrival point. Maybe I'll arrive when I'm, an adult. Then it was, maybe I'll arrive when I'm a senior. There is not an arrival. There's just a journey. And the beautiful thing about it is it's the same journey, the same calling, the same urge in every single human being. This means that we're not alone. It also means that we're not particularly special. We're just a human being with a creative sense that says, grow. And have you noticed that every time that you embrace yes to growing, there's I wish I hadn't done that. Anybody ever had the experience? Oh, I want to grow. I want to grow. I want to just grow. I want to become spiritually enlightened. No, I did not say that. And then when it comes, it's like, I didn't mean it that much. But it's part of the journey to be a human being who has the hero's heart and a brain that knows how to say, not today. No, thank you. See, because one of the most important things about the journey is to look at the call, the longing that you have. And it's so interesting, there comes a point in which you are no longer interested in having more things, but there's a longing to be more, to experience more. And that is present in all of us all the time. The problem is we're not often wanting to or think that we can engage with. Did you ever talk yourself out of a good idea? Raise your hand. Have you ever had a brilliant idea like, ooh, man, I really want to do that? And then you talk yourself out of it? Or you think that someone else talked you out of it, when in fact you just agreed. You agreed with them that you shouldn't go with that great idea. It's the normal, natural pushback. Because you see, the creativity that you and I have is to come up with the longing that takes a form and shape like a brilliant idea. And brilliant ideas are like this, all that, aren't they? How many have brilliant ideas regularly? You better raise your hands. You may not think it's brilliant, but it's brilliant to want to be more, to want to experience more. It's brilliant. And the journey is always the heroes, where I have a calling and a longing and I'm going for it. And then I encounter the dragon. It's normal. You cannot take a journey without there being a dragon. And for us, the dragon is change and unpredictability. And it took more than I thought it would. I thought just because I had this great idea. No. You mean I have to effort 10 times more than I thought? Maybe it's not a good idea. You know how we get really spiritual with ourselves. It must be God saying, don't do this. Meanwhile, it's the whole Spirit of God within you that has said, please, do this. It's amazing. You know, one of my favorite stories in Scripture is, everyone knows about Jesus walking on water. You know, nice. He just stepped out there, walked on the water. But the real story is in the boat. Here are his best disciples. And they see Jesus walking on water, and they go, oh no. Oh no. Peter goes, is that you? This is my version of the Bible, okay? Just so you know. Is that you? Why, yes, it is. Come on in. Now, isn't that a brilliant idea? And let's be Peter for a moment. Wow. I could go. I'm being invited to walk on water. What's the first thing that he comes up with? It can't be done. Because everything that I know is you can't walk on water. Anybody depend on everything that you already know to achieve something new? Did that make sense? Here's Peter's opportunity, and he's got to evaluate it. I would. First of all, it's water. It's probably cold. It's liquid. And you want me to put my foot out of this boat and do something that can't be done. I love that story because Jesus says, come on, follow me, come on. And then the hero's journey begins. The call to go for something outside of what I know, and the natural, normal pushback that says it can't be done. Have you ever talked yourself out of something delicious because you said you couldn't do it? Or somebody else said you can't do it, and you said you're right. So here's Peter. No thanks. And then there's some movement within Peter where he looks to Jesus. And before he even knows what happened, he gets out of the boat and he's walking on water. Isn't that just remarkable? See, that's the real miracle. Is someone who did not know that what they desired to have and be and do, they could, if they were willing, to put aside what they know. Now, of course, Peter was so great. He gets out there, he's looking at Jesus, he's walking on water, and all of a sudden he looks down and he goes, I'm walking on water! And he starts sinking. But you see, the beauty is, Jesus gave him his hand and said, oh, you have little faith. Come with me. And pulled him up. Do you see that that's a miracle? Because the only reason to look at the deeper teachings, spiritual teachings, is that they are teaching us, inviting us not to not have experiences in life. You know, the teachings that we have at Unity and the teachings of all the great masters, it's never been a teaching, how do I create not having life experience? How many people have really tried to make sure that you don't have some experience? Oh, give me anything but that. And the beauty of the wisdom teaching is no matter what shows up on the hero's journey that looks like and feels like a dragon is there for only one purpose, because you have said yes to something greater. Do you see that? This is like the most perfect time in the life of this ministry and all of you, because you're saying yes to something bigger. And I'm not talking about size, right? I'm talking about a bigger experience of your spiritual life, in your spiritual home, which is absolutely a hero's journey, because we can't, I loved, it was Allison, but it was Sarah, who said, we had some transitional times. I love that. How many transitional times do we have in a lifetime? I would say about as long as we live, we have transitions calling to us. But it's not because there's something wrong. It is because there's something next. And the one talent, the one skill, the one gift that each of us have that's innately within us is the capacity to be willing. Willing means the capacity to say yes. Have you ever had a brilliant idea and wanted to say yes and said no? It's a lifestyle. But you see, you can say and be, nevertheless, I am willing. Because willing is the capacity to say yes. That's the meaning of the word willing. The funny thing, oh, you're going to so not like this, but I'll like it anyway because I already know what I'm going to say. There is no no. You know how we go, I have the power to say no. That's not no. That's saying yes to something other than something over here. There's only yes. There's no not willing. There's only yes. Yes, I am willing. Yes, I don't think I'm up to it. You and I have the opportunity to choose moment by moment. What is the next calling that's present in your life? What is the calling, the longing? Is it health, wealth, happiness? There's a calling. And you and I can say, okay, yes, or not today. Here's the bad news. Have you noticed that even when you say, not today, it comes again? Isn't that annoying? You know, it's like we think our no should be no. Is there anything about no that you didn't understand, that you're still in there trying to get me to be more than I've ever been before? What was you thinking? Right? Am I right? Your life is a hero's journey. There's something so incredible seeking to emerge for you, for the world we live in, for the community at large. It's so present. And it's up to you and I to be willing to say, regardless of anything, nevertheless, I am willing to say yes. Practice this. Yes. I don't know, where did I go wrong? You see how quickly the mind goes, yes. Right? Are you willing to learn how to say yes?
Yes.
Thank you. I promise that the moment you say yes to a great possibility, the first thing that will come up is an evaluation that says, I may not be able to engage with this. Here's what you say. Thank you for sharing. Try this. Thank you for sharing. Got it? Yes. Thank you for sharing. That's your new affirmation. I say yes to whatever it is that God is calling me to do. And for everything that says that I'm not up to it, I say thank you for sharing, and I engage. The last thought I have for you is there's a teaching out here that talks about longevity of life. There are like 3 or 4 things that create longevity. Eat right, drink water, sleep, and engage. That which is seeking to emerge, it's time for you to engage with it and to say yes to it. God bless you as you go out on the adventure, and when you see the dragons, thank you for sharing. God bless you.